All right, so hopefully you tried those three practice problems on on the PDF. And now we're going to go ahead and move on and do actually solving rational equations. So here are the steps. The first step is like what we just did in those examples. You're going to list all the restrictions on the domain. Step 2 is going to be clear the fractions by multiplying by the lowest common denominator. And the third step is to solve for x. If you had me freshman year, I called it box and wall. It's possible that you might have to factor, but we're going to be doing simple rational equations. So more than likely, it's just going to be solving. And then the last step is check your answers are not restricted. So you made a list of things that x could not equal. Now, check to see if they're on that list. Okay, here we go. All right, so for this one, we're going to go ahead and first list all of our restrictions on the domain. So I'm going to go ahead and factor this. We know it's going to be x plus 5 and x minus 5. And hopefully you realize that it's similar to this. This is x plus 5. This is x minus 5. This just has both of them. So just like we did before, we're going to take those things, x plus 5, x minus 5, set them equal to 0. All right, easy enough. We know it can't be negative 5. So x cannot equal negative 5. That's one restriction. And add 5, x cannot equal positive 5. So when we actually solve this, we're going to look at our answer, and it cannot be these two. All right, here we go. So the lowest common denominator, our LCD. Our lowest common denominator is basically what we need the denominator to be. So it's basically this, x plus 5, x minus 5. So that's our LCD. So it's basically like, oh, we need to get a common denominator. What is our common denominator going to be? It's going to just be this. Kind of like when we added and subtracted last week. All right, so I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to rewrite this whole thing. We're going to put 2 over x plus 5 plus 1 over x minus 5 equals 16 over all of that. Don't know why it keeps doing that to me, but oh well. We can fix it in a second. Okay. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to take each and every single one of these things and multiply just the top to the LCD. So I'm going to write it here. X plus 5 times x minus 5 times all that. Same thing here. X plus 5 times x minus 5. Same thing here. X plus 5 times x minus 5. And the reason we're doing this is we know if we have something on top, it's going to cancel if it has the same thing on the bottom. So whatever on top is going to cancel with the bottom. And so we're not getting a common denominator on here. We're trying to get rid of and cancel the denominator. So I know this x plus 5 will cancel this x plus 5, and this is what's left over. So the whole point is to get rid of the bottom so we can solve it. It'll be a lot easier to solve. And then this x minus 5 will cancel this x minus 5, gets rid of the denominator. And this is the best thing. This whole thing cancels this whole thing. Bam, it all goes away. And then we no longer have any fractions. That's why we multiply by the LCD, is to get rid of this fraction. So then it does not have any more fractions. All right, now we're just going to rewrite what's left over. All right, so I know there's a 2. I like to put the numbers in front, and we have an x minus 5. Then if we look over here, now we have a plus sign, and we have a 1. And what's left here? An x plus 5. This was an x minus 5. This is an x plus 5. Then equals, that's the great thing. This whole thing canceled all of that. So what are we left with? Just 16. And then now you're just going to solve this like we normally did back in 8th and 9th grade when we took algebra. We're going to distribute that 2 to everything. So it's going to be 2x minus 10 plus, we're going to distribute that 1 to everything. X plus 5 equals 16. And this is why I call it box and wall, because we need to combine our boxes on the same side. I like to put a 1 there too. And they're like terms. So what is 2x plus 1x? We know is 3x. And also, we know negative 10 plus 5 are like terms, and this is negative 5. So basically they're on the same side, so we're just going to combine our like terms. Then we just gotta solve this like we normally would. We would add 5 to each side. So we'd have 3x equals 21, running out of room, but we get the idea. So x is going to equal 7. I'm going to write it bigger. All right, so that means if we plug in 7 into all of our x's, this equation is going to be equal. Whatever this is going to be equal to whatever this is. So it is going to be equal. But the last step is going to be to check our restrictions. So this says x equals 7. Does this say x cannot equal 7? No, it says 5. So then this is our answer. Okay. We're going to do one more, and then I'm going to actually make it a little bit faster by cutting a few little steps. Basically cut this step out, and there we go. Here we go. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to factor this denominator using the x, what multiplies to negative 12, but adds or subtracts to 1. And it's going to be a y. And so we know it's going to be 4 and 3, because 4 times 3 gives us 12. But one of them has to be negative. It's a positive one, so the 4 is positive and the 3 is negative. So it's going to be y plus 4 and y minus 3. Now we're going to find our restrictions. Our restrictions are y plus 4 equals 0. Notice that's the exact same thing we got here. So we only have 1, 2 restrictions. And y minus 3 equals 0. So we know y cannot equal negative 4 and y cannot equal positive 3. All right, so now we're going to multiply everything by our LCD. Our lowest common denominator is going to be the y plus 4 and the y minus 3 because they all have that in common, y plus 4, y minus 3. All right, so technically we're multiplying everything by that. I'm going to kind of skip that step, and I'm just going to go, okay, what does this thing need that is missing from the LCD? So I'm going to go ahead and write it. This thing has both of them, y plus 4 and y minus 3. So it has both of them. It doesn't need anything. Where this one, it has just the y plus 4. What is it missing? It's missing the y minus 3. So I'm going to take this and only multiply it by the y minus 3 because that's what the denominator is missing. And then I'm going to put minus 2. And what is this missing? This has the y minus 3. From this list, what is it missing? It's missing the y plus 4. So that's what I'm going to multiply by, y plus 4. So I did take this and multiply everything by the LCD. I took this, multiplied. I just cut the step where you actually write it all out because to me, it just takes more time. Y plus 4, y minus 3, y plus 4, y minus 3, and where you cancel out. Oh, this whole thing cancels this whole thing. This whole thing cancels this whole thing. Blah, blah, blah. So I basically cut that step out, okay? And I'm going to erase that because it looks super sloppy now, okay? So I just want to explain how we got that. We did multiply by the LCD, but we just kind of cut out that step. We basically just multiplied by what was missing. All right, so let's finish this up. I'm going to distribute. So we're going to have 4 equals y minus 3. You like the 1, put the 1 in front. We're going to have negative 2y minus 8. Distribute that 2 to everything. Now we're going to combine like terms. That y and this y combine. So 1 minus 2. We'll just do it in a different color so you can see. 1 minus 2y is going to be negative 1y. And then these are like terms. Negative 3 minus 8 is going to be negative 11. And then we're going to just solve for our x. We're going to add 11. So 15 equals negative 1y. Divide by negative 1. So our y equals negative 15. Does that equal negative 4 or 3? Nope. That is our answer then. Right. So hopefully that helps. what I recommend you doing now, is to do your practice problems. So there's 2 of them, number 4 and number 5. Thanks for watching. Hopefully this helps.